Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Yes, it's another episode, a podcast that inspires and motivates entrepreneurs to take action and succeed in their business venture. This episode is brought to you by the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And of course, you'll be hearing from them in just a moment. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter. And today we have a very special guest who is the CEO of a company that guides entrepreneurs through the complexities of the startup world. But like I said, first, let's hear from our sponsor.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Welcome back. Today we're diving deeply into the mind of a top-ranked attorney, a top 1% business professional, and powerhouse entrepreneur. We'll learn about his journey, his successes, and the lessons he's learned along the way. Powerhouse entrepreneur and CEO of Idea Pros, a company that guides qualified entrepreneurs through the complexities and pitfalls of this startup world. And trust me, there are many. Where there's entrepreneurial spirit, my guest started many businesses in different industries, creating many successes and acquired thousands of lessons along the way. I'm sure lots of lessons. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the Entrepreneurial You podcast, Frederick Cary. Welcome, Frederick.
Well, thank you. It's really good to be here, and I have a love for Jamaica. So hello to all the Mafoods, the family that I know out there, and let's see what we got going.
Interesting. And the that you said, John Mafood, the ad that is aired by the Jamaica Stock Exchange, which you're not hearing now, is actually from his company, voiced by him, John Mafood, Caribbean Dreams. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. And they're actually having a tea party for Grace to Grow, which is my social enterprise supporting women. And his company, Caribbean Dreams, is actually the sponsors, right? One of the sponsors. So it's small world after all.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Small world. All right. So before we get started on what we really want to talk about, Fred, what's the craziest thing you've ever done in the name of entrepreneurship?
The craziest thing?
Yeah.
The craziest thing I've done over and over again, and that is to completely empty out my retirement funds and mortgage my homes up to the hilt, and done everything that I can possibly do to go on my next adventure. So I think the overall crazy thing is going all in every time.
No, this is a jaw-dropping moment, right? I mean, it was meant as an icebreaker, but come on now, we've got to touch on that as we go right into our discussion. So that is what you are a true entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is really about risk, right? And many people, they say they're entrepreneurs, they really aren't. They, leverage some opportunities, fine. But the true definition of an entrepreneur is a risk taker. So talk us through some of those crazy moments that you've actually wiped out your retirement, fund and going all in, burning the ship, as it were. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I've found that is a critical element to the probable or even the potential success of any entrepreneur. Like when you are all in, you're not thinking anymore that I can do this. You're thinking, I have to do this. And that's a whole nother level of commitment that where many people would turn around and go back to the starting gate, you're going to continue on because you've invested everything you have financially, emotionally, intellectually into your project. That's why you see billionaires that still work. I mean, why, I'm sure we all sit around, God, if I was a billionaire, if I had $100 million even, I wouldn't work anymore. But many of those people that are at that point in their lives, they're still working. And a lot of them are still working 6-7 days a week. They're doing it not because of the money, obviously. They're doing it because of what goes on inside them that inspires them to take risk after risk after risk.
Yeah, I consider myself, I've always considered myself, Frederick, I mean, when it comes down to certain risks, particularly when it comes down to entrepreneurship, I do take risk, but I still have a level of risk aversion within me. And right now, you don't know how much you've inspired me, because there is a decision that I have taken in my mind mentally, and just to pull the funds, and the funds are not coming from investment. The funds are coming from emergency savings. And I'm like, I am almost struggling to pull those funds from emergency savings to take care of this very important thing that I need to take care of. And I'm thinking to myself, hearing you talk about going all in, mortgaging homes and going in on your retirement fund, right? So that for me is inspiration right there. And it's an answer to my question that that has been lurking around in my mind. So thank you for sharing that at the very start of our conversation. It's inspiring, was meant as an icebreaker, but come on, it's doing much more than that, breaking the ice and so much more. Yeah. Okay, so we want to talk about from idea to success. Many people get stuck at ideas, right? Ideas are a dime a dozen. We don't want to even put our ideas out there sometimes because we're afraid people are going to steal it. Truth is, they may steal your idea, but the fact is they're not you, and no one can ever execute on an idea the way you could, because it's your initial thought. You have the vision for it. So let's talk about how does one move from, and let's be maybe a bit specific. Let's say they have an idea to start an online business, right? It could be a business in AI, an online business, whatever it is. How do you move from idea and navigating through the nuances, getting to the place of success? I know it's not a linear journey, but walk us through it.
The biggest thing we need to do as entrepreneurs, besides going all in, is picking up all the knowledge we can. And you discussed AI. With AI tools right now, there's no excuse to not be absolutely prepared when you go down any business route, whatever it is, online business or any kind of business that you want to start. And that's where we really mess up over and over again. So many people think they have a good idea. Finally, through a couple of years of trepidation, they decide, screw it, I'm going to do it. But they haven't done the homework. It's like starting to play a new sport, but not understanding what the rules are or who the opponents are or how to exploit their weaknesses. We don't do any of those things. So the very first step to go from your idea to actually taking critical, fundamental steps forward is know the marketplace that you're in, and more importantly, know what the opportunity you have is and how big that opportunity can be. And you need to do that with knowledge.
Mm-hmm. So it's about not just going all in, but learning about what you're going all in as you're going.
Yeah, learning why you're going all in and how you're going to get to where it is you want to go to. You have to have a roadmap, and that roadmap starts with knowledge, right? For me, I started 10 different companies before I started Idea Pros, and 8 of those companies had successful exits. And the reason is not because I'm some super genius. The reason is I found markets that were robust, that were growing, that had a really good customer base and had a hole. There was something missing. There's competition in there. They're providing 3 of the 4 things that all these customers want, but nobody's providing that 4th thing. If I can find what that thing is and just focus on creating a company around that, I already know what the demand is. I already know it can be a successful business sector because there's 3 competitors in there that are making hundreds of millions of dollars. And I just have to find the right spot. Their weaknesses become my strength. And so that's how you get a better chance of succeeding, through knowledge and really critical thinking and robust strategies that look at the end zone, but make your little plays 1 or 2 yards at a time.
Mhm. And I also hear you speaking about knowing your why. So knowing your why and also a clear understanding of the market.
Yeah, yeah. Well, companies like Apple that start with their why, which they didn't used to years ago, but they do now. You end up getting people that become very loyal advocates of your brand. If you can, people don't want to buy your stuff. They want to buy what feelings you
What?
give to them.
Yes,
So
yes.
they're buying. People buy emotionally, and if you don't connect to that emotional element of it, then you're just selling trinkets. If you connect emotionally, people are going to stick with you because you're giving them what they need much more than just the product level.
Interesting. Now, I want to hear about your particular journey. You've started businesses in many different industries. Not, industry differ from one to the other. What are those elements that, notwithstanding which industry it is, they remain the same? So those variables that never change. Well, factors, they're not varying, so they're not really variables.
Well, again, for me, you're right. If you look at my business portfolio, you would think it's pretty schizophrenic. But there is the commonality. One, I committed to go all in every time. Two, I found a robust market. Three, I found this gaping hole in the marketplace that needed to be filled and that nobody was filling. If you have those three elements, it doesn't matter what business you go into, you have a chance of succeeding because you're addressing an issue that you know is there and that is not being addressed well.
Mm-hmm. And there's the recurring theme here, amidst everything else that you're saying, is the going all in parts, And I think that's where many of us fall short because we still have in the back of our minds, and we're not saying that you should be taking decisions that are not clearly thought through. We're not saying that you should be frivolous, but what I'm getting from here is that doubt and fear that usually come, that trepidation that usually come when you're doing something, going into something new, when you replace that, with, of course, doing the research, but with a confidence that knowing, like, listen, in order for this to succeed, I have to bet on myself and set that example so that others can bet on me, because we want the investors and we want others to bet on us and we want others to invest in us. But are we really, really serious about investing in ourselves and our dream?
And that's a key element. Investors are not going to invest in you to help you figure out your mistakes. Investors are going to invest in you because they're betting on you because you show that you really understand your market, you understand the underlying data behind that marketplace, and you have a very clear focus on how you're going to penetrate that market, and not, oh, if we capture 1%, we're going to be $1 billion company. Not that, but capture a market and go in there in a substantial way. That's what people want to bet on. They don't want to bet on the horses that are going to come in 10th place. They want to bet on winners. And you can't be a winner unless you get up earlier, you go to bed later, you work harder, you work on the weekends while you're pushing forward with what you're trying to do. And by the way, we're all going to have imposter syndrome when we go through this. All of us think that we don't deserve the win. That's just everybody. Elon Musk on down, anyone that you look at, they've all gone through this where, am I doing the right thing? Waking up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat, wondering, how the hell did I go into my retirement plan or my emergency money? And we're going to have doubts over and over and over again. But you can roll over and go back to sleep knowing that the entire entrepreneurial world has that same experience. It's normal. It's part of the process.
Wow, you can roll over, go back to sleep knowing that you're not that special. Sorry.
We all go through it.
Yes, no doubts you've had. And I'm going to ask you about your lessons first. What are some of the lessons that you've learned throughout entrepreneurship? And before you answer that, just kind of give us a synopsis of the different businesses that you've been involved with. And we're going to have an opportunity to tap into Ideas Pro later down, but just in a general way, give us some of those businesses that you've been a part of and what they do.
Yeah, I've been in businesses in the restaurant business, in software, in the music industry, in banking, e-commerce, hardware, finance, really all over the board, and Idea Pros focusing on enabling entrepreneurs to start businesses. The one lesson I think that is consistent with all of those companies is it's a lot harder than you think it's going to be.
Oh,
You're going to
yes.
make a lot more mistakes than you think you're going to make, and it's going to take every ounce of energy that you have to continue going when you think that everything is lost. Because with every one of those companies, I got in that position and was able to work my way through it. So the one thing that you learn is perseverance. You have to have perseverance to make it work. Otherwise, it's not going to work, no matter how good it is.
Yeah, perseverance. I tell people all the time they can outsmart me, they can outskill me, but the determination part of it and being able to persevere, I'm yet to see the person who's going to outdo me in that regard. So it is absolutely necessary. And you don't know what you're made of. You don't know, how good you are until you have to be. You don't know how strong you are until you have to be, and determine and all of these things. So and entrepreneurship teaches that. So you've learned some lessons and so on. Let's talk about some of those successes that you've had. Like, give us a tangible, mind-blowing success, because I know you've had lots, and share that with our community.
Sure. One of our companies, Imagine Communications, it's still a private company. When high definition television first came out, the cable industry was pretty much screwed because their cables going into your home would only hold 1 megabit of data, and you needed 1.5 to do one HD signal. A hole in the market, right? There's an addressing thing, there's a big market, there's audiences all over the world. Now there's this opportunity because the entire cable industry around the world is about to get screwed. And there's no solution to be able to get high definition without digging up their entire infrastructure, which is massive and would take years. And so we approached it by finding ways to compress the technologies that were existing out there, so that at the end, we were able to deliver a 4 times greater volume, not 25%, but 4 times. So we were able to take the existing infrastructure, and it took months and months and 50 engineers to pull it off, but we were able to take the existing infrastructure that the cable industry had, and using our hardware and our software, we were able to get 4 megabits through that 1 megabit pipe, which meant they could have 2 high definition streams and 1 standard definition stream immediately after they acquired our stuff. And the first year the company did about 20 million in revenue, and now it about 750 million in revenue, and there are employees on every habitable continent, and I think something like 52% of all television households around the world have our technology somewhere in that pipeline of driving the signal to their homes. So
that's pretty cool stuff. Thanks for sharing that and inspiring our community and thinking, wow, they may have a business today that is earning them, I don't know, $2,000 per year or something. That's not moving the needle or anything, because they're just at the idea stage. But you have given us hope, that it is possible to accomplish big things, right? With that same level of perseverance and going all in, finding that hole in the market and all of these things so that you can move ahead. Now, I do get the sense that Ideas Pro is that company where you're kind of paying it forward, having had all these experiences in these different companies. Ideas Pro is here to, Idea Pros rather, is here to help entrepreneurs as they grow their business. So do tell us about that, and how are you contributing to the entrepreneurial ecosystem?
Yeah, I started this about 5 years ago, and some mornings I wake up thinking it was the dumbest idea I ever had, and other mornings I'm very proud of it. We were inundated with applications, and it wasn't easy to work with us. I mean, you had to talk about emergency funds and life savings and everything. You needed to come up with at least $100,000 to work with us, and give us 30% of the company we're going to start together. But the reality is that all those people that came to us, they came at the idea stage. And for them to do that on their own, and these are companies that want to have not just a national presence, an international presence. So it's not somebody who's going to start a company that's going to be in one region. You're trying to build a big company. So those people would spend $500,000 to $1 million otherwise if they didn't partner with us. So while it sounds like a ton of money, an impossible amount of money for some people, the reality is they saved a whole lot and they got a whole lot of expertise. So we had 100,000 people apply saying that they wanted to give us that kind of money and percentage. We were only able to take 400 people out of 100,000. And so my model was completely screwed up, really, because I needed to have ways to help everybody at some level. And we had, either you had $100,000 or the old "you're dead to me."
Sounds Shark Tanky, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like O'Leary there, "you're dead to me." So in any event, what we did is we spent the last year refocusing. How can we help more and more entrepreneurs? And in fact, if you go to ideapros.com now, the very first thing you see is free membership. And so anybody can sign up for free. They get information from us on a weekly basis. Twice a month, we have different workshops, 2-hour workshops that people can go in and hone their business skills. And by the way, this is good. If you're entrepreneurial, it could be you have your own local business. You don't have to be a technology entrepreneur. Some of the rules, many of the rules are the same. Differentiate yourself, find a way to endear your audience, be different than everybody around you. I mean, even things like you could take a regular business that you figure, like, how am I going to possibly differentiate this? Like dentistry. Let's suppose you're a dentist. Well, what do people hate about the dentist? Well, they hate going to the dentist, right? How and why do they hate going to the dentist? Because every time you go there, it hurts. And there's always a cavity. There's always a tooth that needs to be pulled, a root canal, something that's not a pleasant experience. And those drills and everything sound terrible. And so you're in this environment where people are going to you only because they have to, and they don't go often enough. So what about if you start a dentistry business that guarantees people they're not going to get cavities? That is preventative dentistry, that you show up once a month for 15 minutes, they examine you, they take care of your teeth. If there's anything that's a little iffy, they address it right then and there, and that's it. You pay a flat fee, and you're guaranteed you don't have any cavities ever. And if you did, then they'll take care of it for free. Everybody would sign up for that, right? No dentist does that. Like, let me be the dentist that you don't have to be afraid of. Nobody does that, but that's how easy it is to differentiate yourself. If you're in a community of 20 dentists and one of them says you're never going to have any cavities, and the other one says it's going to cost $80,000 for a complete mouth restoration, who are you going to go to? And so anyway, you can be entrepreneurial, whatever your business is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so stay on Idea Pros a little longer. So that's how you started, and now you've opened membership up. Persons can learn on the platform and so on. But outside of that, let's talk about those initial 400 companies that you helped to launch their ideas. Where are they now? Can you give us any statistics on those?
Yeah, right now, the first batch of them have launched. Probably 100 of them have launched. They're in the fundraising stage. I think our companies have raised about $25 million so far, and so they're really doing well in that regard. They're a lot of them are doing beta testing. Some of the physical products are being sold online now. So they're getting momentum. But when you look at a company startup, you're looking at 5 years or more. To really, after you launch, to really get that momentum and growth that people end up saying was an overnight success. It takes some time. So they're really being well nurtured, and they're doing great things. The one thing that I hate about this business is the fact that you can't really tell who an entrepreneur is until it's too late. When you hand them the keys of the Formula One car that you just built for them, and they either don't want to buy the gas to start it, or they crash into the first curve, and that is kind of. I think I found a way to eliminate that now. But you can go online, you can see like 300 or 400 people saying, "Wow, Fred, Idea Pro is the most amazing thing that ever happened to me," and there's 10, 15, 20 people out there saying, oh, these guys are a scam. They don't do anything. I got my business and I wasn't able to go anywhere with it. Well, yeah, it's you. We're dressing you up for battle, but you got to go out and fight the war, And so there's this subset that basically, if they don't have victory handed to them, they think that they got screwed. They didn't do, we didn't do a good job, or they got nothing in return for what they paid for. And that's the hardest thing about this, because there's this subset of people that will never make it no matter what. And they're the ones that look outward and blame. So for me, the biggest thing as an entrepreneur that you can ever do is never assign blame to anybody else. Always own it, take control of it, no matter what. No matter if you went to an app developer like I did that completely screwed you, like I got screwed for $1 million, can't blame them.
Wow.
You put that in the back burner, go to the next app developer and get your stuff done. And you can worry about that after the dust falls. But, always find paths forward, because if you get in this blame situation, then your feet get stuck in cement and they don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we're not going to gloss over what you just said a while ago, Fred, with you getting screwed $1 million. We're not talking about $1 million Jamaican dollars, my friends. We're talking about $1 million US, which is about right now 155, between 152 and 155 million Jamaican dollars, right? But you just gloss over that. So that's kind of we're wrapping up now, and let's talk a little bit about what happened and the lesson you've learned from that in as succinct a way as you possibly can.
Yeah, well, in this particular situation, it's very unusual because I'm having 100 apps built at a time, not one, because probably 40% of the people that come to us want to build apps. And so the big lesson I learned in that particular case is they were building all the front ends first and then the back ends. And I got screwed when it came time to build the back ends, which is the most expensive and hard thing to do. And so now when we deal with our developers, we have them front end, back end, all, one at a time, instead of building 100 front ends and then having 100 instances of smoke and mirrors. But I think the lesson is stay on top of your contractors, look for weekly reports, get updates, really get involved, roll your sleeves up. Don't expect that everything is going to work out right, because if you don't guide the ship, it won't work out right.
If you don't guide the ship, it won't work out right. Good point on which to end. Lots of lessons and learnings that you've shared with us. Frederick, Cary, right here speaking and delivering all these gems. Tell us how we might reach you, all the various, your website you didn't mention earlier, but you can share that again, as well as your social media platforms.
Yeah, so, ideapros.com, again, there's free memberships there. We also have a couple of workshops. If you go to pitch.ideapros.com, you can attend our 2-hour workshops that teach you how to really pitch to investors. It's completely free, and it is jaw-dropping, I would say. Every single time that I do it, there's 2 or 3 people crying in the process, because I'm getting people in touch with the moment in time that they really decided to go for it, to dig into their emergency funds and proceed. And so that the whole basis of pitching well is to be able to tell a story. And that story starts with that moment in time that you made that deep leap. So pitch.ideapros.com is good. If you go to Instagram at official Fred Cary, Cary, I have about 500,000 followers on there, and I do a post each day that should guide and inspire, hopefully, many of you. But you tune in every day and click for notifications so you know when my post goes out there. Those are the main ways to reach me. If you have some amazing, gonna change the world idea and feel you need to speak to me directly, just write to fred@ideapros.com, and I'm happy to write back to you.
So it's fred@ideapros.com.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. You have been such an inspiration, and just kind of, I think you have been that messenger delivering to me that, yes, Heneka, go ahead and make that decision right now. Don't delay any further. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those insights with us today. And to our listeners, if you want to learn more about Idea Pros, of course, be sure to check out the website given at ideapros.com. But of course, if you want to reach Fred, it's fred@ideapros.com. And also you did hear pitch.ideapros.com for that course there on pitching, that lesson there on pitching, yep, which every entrepreneur needs to know, right? You want to say something, Fred?
I was saying pitching is going to be a constant part of your future. So learn how to do it right.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If ever you intend to grow as an entrepreneur, it absolutely is. And I also want to talk about, if you are an aspiring podcaster or busy entrepreneur, or you're looking to start your own show, but you just feel like there's too much work involved in it, that's where I come in. I've got you covered. So the podcast production services take the hassle out of creating your podcast, and all you have to do is simply show up and deliver your amazing content. So from the editing to the distribution, marketing, everything in between, that's where we come in. We handle that for you. Please don't let the fear of production hold you back. Let us handle the details while you focus on what you do best. Until next time, keep shining and sharing your brilliance with the world. Reach out to me at henekawatkis-porter.com for more, or you can go to henekawatkis-porter.com, the website, and you can find me. Affirm with me today. Today, I embrace my entrepreneurial journey with confidence and purpose. I am capable of overcoming any challenge that comes my way. My unique voice and vision have the power to inspire and create positive change. I'm ready to show up, share my brilliance, and make a meaningful impact on the world too. Take care.